Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Drak Reviews. I have a bit of confession to make. Reviews are very much behind this year, so much so that I know a lot of you guys have been asking, are reviews still happening? We know you made the announcement that it was just going to be vlogs, and yeah, things are relatively behind. So much so that I actually didn't even realize that the next couple of reviews are basically going to be making up for reviews I was doing for you and then unfortunately lost the footage for. So the last thing that I left you guys on was the check-in reviews for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn. So really quick, we're going to get those done so that at least I can give you guys kind of my viewpoint on where they're at and give you guys my final score. As kind of a way to get things started back up again. I know that we're months behind, but I at least want to be able to give you guys my perspective. I know a few people have been asking on certain games, so here we go. We're going to start up with Horizon Zero Dawn. This is unfortunately one where I wanted to give a formal review and unfortunately lost all of the recording footage that I did, and my schedule was so backed up that I just wasn't going to be able to find time to be able to record it again. So let's go ahead and start there, and we're just going to do it in the same review format that people are used to, starting with the story. So, if you don't already know, I'm going to approach this from the angle that you've never played Horizon Zero Dawn and give you my thoughts as we go along. The story is about about a young girl named Aloy, and you follow her life from literally birth as she is anointed part of the, not necessarily part of a tribe, but part of an outcast, and then eventually makes her way into a tribe. And you get to follow her life, but she is the main character surrounding the events of Horizon Zero Dawn. And the beginning just starts off with her not wanting to be isolated, not wanting to be outside of a tribe, wanting to be part of a tribe, especially if she can get answers about her mother and her father, her origins, all of that. So she joins the Nora tribe, but as soon as she does her rite of passage, crap basically hits the fan, and a renegade tribe begins to start assaulting the other tribes with corrupted mechanical animals, as well as their own modern weaponry, everything like that. And it's up to Aloy to not only stop their insidious schemes, but also learn the origins of herself, as well as the reason that Earth is the way it is in this post-apocalyptic era. It literally got called that from the developers, and that's a fitting term because it's, first of all, you had the apocalypse, then you had the post-apocalypse, and then you had another apocalypse after that, and this is where Horizon sets in place. Is that the best way to be able to look at it is if you've ever seen the Futurama joke of Fry sleeping in the cryopod and just seeing civilizations kind of re-erect themselves and fall apart. That's the way to look at this particular situation. But yeah, it's up to Aloy to stop the renegade tribe, as well as figure out why the Earth is the way it is, as well as figure out her own origins, because there's tons of mystery around that. Now, as far as where I'm at in the game, I've actually beaten this thing well after I had the review footage done. I beat all of it, and I enjoyed the story thoroughly. Just because even though we've seen some post-apocalyptic stories throughout the last couple of years in gaming, this one was unique in the fact that they actually showed like a post-apocalyptic situation where we went back to a tribal system, and yet strangely we have mechanical animals running around, along with real-life animals. But we also have wreckage from eras gone by. So yeah, it's a very unique story setting, as well as a unique story that unfolds before you as you take Aloy to solve the various answers that she needs to find. And I gave it full marks for that. The story kept me engaged from minute 1 to minute end. It actually got me crying a couple of times because of the twists that go on in the story. So yeah, I gave it full marks. Moving on into the visuals of the game, it is beautiful. The landscapes and the animals really do sell this world, and I'm not just talking about the mechanical animals. Even the organic ones really do sell the world, but most of the time it is the landscapes and seeing these giant mechanical behemoths just lumbering over the countryside and gaining dominion over it. Uh, Visually, it's hard not to be in awe of any part of the world. If you go to kind of your default snowy area, you're going to find something that's unique about it, not just because it's a new generalized area or because of the MacGuffin robots kind of thing, but also just because you get to see how the world has been affected over hundreds of years of development, and that really does help the story along, as well as build this new world, this new Earth that we don't really know. So I gave it full marks again for visuals. Gameplay, this is where it gets a little tricky, but it isn't. Here's the thing. Horizon Zero Dawn has a learning curve. I'm not even going to deny that to people. It has a learning curve, but once you have it, you're good. You'll be perfectly fine the rest of the time. There's plenty of features to be able to keep track of. You have crafting systems to be able to make yourself armor, as well as make yourself arrows, like fire arrows, things like that, as well as be able to create traps. Crafting is actually a very big part of the game, and one that if you don't take advantage of, you will regret it. I actually regret it a lot because I actually never unlocked health potions, and I could never find the appropriate... Like, I'm sure that the animal was, like, in the starting area, because once I got out into the world, I could not find, like, the quest elements necessary to be able to go complete it, and I just wanted to keep moving on. So it's one of those things that I regret later that I didn't get that health potion, because then I could have just made health potions and not had to buy them. So yeah, if you're not doing the crafting, it will kick your butt later on. You also have dialogue systems very similar to Mass Effect, except instead of being just kind of two-pronged, where it's Paragon and Renegade, I guess you could say neutral is kind of the third path. This is a three-path system, but more based along the lines of like a brave answer, a wise answer, and a compassionate answer. Very similar to the 2010 King's Quest, like, or I don't remember what year it came out, but the revised King's Quest, where there are different paths to follow. The only difference there is that they don't exactly affect your path. They just affect how you go down it, the way I was able to ever determine. Like, it didn't ever feel like the path was changed. And even then, I've done a second playthrough where I've changed a few of my decisions, at least the ones that I considered key decisions, and it doesn't really look like it affects things too badly. So you can customize it as best as you want. Like, you can literally go through a dilemma and answer the way you want, or answer the way you don't want, and just see how that affects things. So you have those systems, as well as a melee combat system and a ranged combat system. Like I said, it's very easy to be able to get behind. You're going to struggle at first, but that's what the beginning tutorial is for, and actually the thing will tutorialize when it's needed. I'm not going to say that it's going to hammer you with tutorials, because that's not really what happens. But when you do need to learn something new, it will teach you it. So at that point, it's really so that you can go through the story, and then if you want to go through on a harder difficulty, you can. But overall, again, full marks on gameplay. This game kept me engaged story-wise, gameplay-wise. It really was awesome. And now we're going into audio. I wish I could say that I wasn't being a broken record with this review, but audio was pretty solid too. The voice cast was spot on. Each character felt like that's the voice that should be coming out of it. In particular, I will give compliments to Ashley Birch, who played Aloy. She did an exceptional job. She also plays a few other characters in the world, and it's great to hear her voice. If you don't know who she is, well, if you've ever seen Hey Ash, What You Playin' on YouTube, or Tiny Tina from Borderlands 2, that's Ashley Birch. She does amazing, whether it's a comedic role or now in this case a serious role. And I enjoyed every second that I could get into the world and be able to hear these voice actors do their absolute best in their jobs. I can't really think of a single voice actor I would change, and the music wouldn't change it for the world. The musical staff was amazing in their picks for tracks, in forming out the world, but also keeping a central theme within the music of kind of a tribal sense of a of an into the unknown aspect of any particular part of the map. The music just and the voice acting just helps you immerse into the game and gets you even more invested to discover and explore. Not just engage in combat, not just go through the story. I'm usually a story guy, and this game made me explore. This game made me go out of my way to find that particular quest, find that particular item, just so that I could say I've seen this part of the world. And it's very rare for me when that happens. On to replayability and presentation. Replayability is very much there. Like I said, you can play through the game just to see the story, and then eventually play through it on a harder difficulty if you want to do that. You also can just spend time exploring, unlocking the map, finding the various armor sets that you can get, or craft, whichever you want to be able to do. You can also gain knowledge on the mechanical animals and kind of gain your own codex, so you can go and do that. You can also go and find the various audio logs and text logs that just kind of help fill out the story that's being told there. There's plenty for you to do replay-wise. I've already talked to a few fellow fans of Horizon, and they've spent far more time than I ever did. We're talking into the... I probably spent... I'm just going to take a rough guess, probably 50, 60 hours, but I already have friends that have spent 100-plus hours, and the expansion for it, the Frozen Wilds, isn't even out yet, to my knowledge. So that very much totes the replayability aspect here. Presentation. Does it come together? Absolutely. I have no problem saying that once I picked up the game, it even kind of happened in my Drak tries of it. I got immersed. I got completely invested into the world I was in. I was Aloy. I was going through this just as much as Aloy was, and once I had to end things for the end of a recording day or whatever, I actually dreaded it. I actually didn't want to end. I wanted to continue to explore, to continue to thrive and explore and do all of the awesome stuff that I could do in this world. And that was actually one of the downsides of being a reviewer this year, is that there were other games that I had to get to, and I always wanted to go back to Horizon. So I have no problem giving it this. This is probably the second time I've ever done it on the channel, but Horizon Zero Dawn gets a 10 out of 10. This game, to me, is perfect. I really can't think of a way to improve it. Obviously, we have an expansion on the way, but the experience that I got out of it was a treasure to behold, and one that I recommend to you guys wholeheartedly. If you have not picked up this game, and here's the thing, you might not have, especially Nintendo Switch owners. You may not have picked this up because you were more interested in Zelda, which came out a couple of weeks later. Pick this game up. You will not regret it. And I think that's going to go ahead and do it for my review of Horizon Zero Dawn. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your patience and for all that this community has come around me to do. I'm not talking right, but thanks so much to the community that's come around this channel and shown their support, shown their patience with me as I've tried to get these reviews out. And of course, I will see you guys next time for the next review.